Hello friends, in today's video we will discuss about vitamin B12. It is very important topic both for MBBS students, MD biochemistry students. Very frequently questions are asked from the topic, maybe in the form of long questions, short notes, MCQs or in vivas in practical examination. I have tried to cover as many books as possible for the topic so that no point is left, and I have tried to include or cover all the points from different books at one place. So let's start the topic. First, coming to what are the synonyms of vitamin B12 or what are the other names, also known as cobalamin, also known as extrinsic factor of Cassel, because there is something called intrinsic factor of Cassel. These are few terminologies which we will come across in this vitamin. Also known as anti-pernicious anemia factor, also known as anti-pernicious anemia vitamin. Why this is called? Because deficiency of this vitamin leads to pernicious anemia. So that is why it is known as anti-pernicious anemia factor or vitamin. A few interesting points on the vitamin B12 is that it is a unique vitamin because it is synthesized only by the microorganisms. Neither plants nor animals are able to synthesize this vitamin. Last vitamin to be discovered. It is water soluble as it is one of the vitamin of B complex, and all the vitamins of B complex are water soluble. That is why it is water soluble. It is heat stable and it is red in color. Coming to structure is little bit complex, or I can say it is a complex structure. So it is the only vitamin with a complex structure. Consists of two coenzyme forms are there, which contains organometallic bond between carbon and cobalt atom. Means it contains organometallic bond between carbon and cobalt. So from this we came to know that it contains a cobalt atom in its structure. The structure consists of corine ring system, similar to the porphyrin ring. It consists of corine ring. This corine ring system, it consists of central cobalt atom, means there is cobalt atom at the center, and there are 4 pyrrole rings at the 4 sides. The cobalt atom has a valency of 6, so it is held in the center of the corine ring by 4 coordinate bonds from the nitrogen of the pyrrole ring. So we can see this like this. This is the cobalt atom. I will say these are the 4 rings, pyrrole rings. These are the 4 pyrrole rings, and the nitrogen of the pyrrole ring, it forms coordinate bond with this cobalt atom. Okay, so this is a corine ring system, consists of cobalt atom at the center and 4 pyrrole rings at the periphery. 4 nitrogen atoms form 4 coordinate bond with the cobalt atom at the center. Okay, now the 4 pyrrole rings are named as A, B, C and D. So we can say A, B, C and D. These are the 4 pyrrole rings. Then what happens? A and D rings are directly bound to each other, and B and C rings are held together with the help of methane bridge. If you have read about porphyrin ring system, in that also the 4 rings are held together with the help of methane bridge, but here only B and C rings are held together, means these 2 rings are held together with the help of methane bridge, rest are connected directly. Then here there are different substituents are present. I am drawing just like this. Different substituents are present, like methyl, acetamide and propionamide groups are substituted on the pyrrole rings. This B ring is important. Why it is important? For binding to the intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor is the factor, intrinsic factor of Cassel, which is important for absorption of vitamin B12. So the intrinsic factor bind to the cobalamin with the help of this B ring. So it is important for binding to the structure of cobalamin to intrinsic factor. Now the cobalt atom has a valency of +6. So the 5th valency, this is the system, means 4 pyrrole rings. 5th valency is occupied by a DMB ring, which is dimethyl benz imidazole ring. Okay, one ring is there, DMB, dimethyl benz imidazole ring. Now it consists of ribose 5-phosphate and amino isopropanol. Okay, it consists of ribose 5-phosphate and amino isopropanol. one nitrogen atom of dimethyl benzimidazole, or this DMB, is linked to the cobalt atom. Here it is linked to the nitrogen, it forms bond with the cobalt atom. So up to this it is clear. So I will repeat again. Chlorine ring system, central cobalt atom, A, B, C and D, 4 side rings are there which are known as pyrrole rings. They are linked together with the help of coordinate bond between the nitrogen of the rings and the central cobalt atom. 4 coordinate bonds are formed. B and C rings are held together with the help of methane bridge. Other are linked together with each other directly. B ring is important for binding to the intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor binds to the cobalamin from the diet to form a complex which can be absorbed. Absence of intrinsic factor will leads to inhibition of absorption of the vitamin. The fifth valency is occupied by DMB. What is DMB? It is dimethyl benzimidazole. Nitrogen of this DMB forms a coordinate bond with the cobalt. This DMB consists of ribose 5-phosphate and amino isopropanol. Up to this it is clear. So let's move on further. Now different substituents. The sixth valency means it has 6 valency of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are occupied. The sixth valency above the plane, it is occupied by different groups. Either it will be occupied by cyanide to form a cyanocobalamin, with cyanide, so it will be known as cyanocobalamin. Either it will be occupied by hydroxyl OH group to form hydroxycobalamin. The cyanocobalamin has no physiological function. Hydroxycobalamin, all the injectable preparation of the vitamin B12 comes in this form. Now the 2 coenzyme forms, we had discussed just now that there are 2 coenzyme forms of the vitamin which are formed in the body. They are adenosylcobalamin. Here what happens? In this place 5-deoxyadenosine group is there, and it is the storage form in the body, means vitamin B12 is stored in the body. As we know, all the vitamin B complex, they are not stored in the body because they are water soluble, they are excreted. But exception is vitamin B12 because it is stored in our liver. And though it is water soluble vitamin, but it is stored in the liver. So it is a storage form is present in the form of adenosylcobalamin. Then coming to methylcobalamin, in place of the sixth valency is occupied by methyl group. It is the form seen in the blood circulation. So this is the chlorine ring system, cobalamin, A, B, C and D, cobalamin. Sixth valency occupied by DMB ring. Nitrogen of this will form a coordinate bond here. Now the chlorine ring and DMB, it forms the cobalamin. Addition of the sixth valency group will lead to different forms, either cyanocobalamin, hydroxycobalamin, methylcobalamin, 5-deoxyadenosine cobalamin. Okay, now this DMB is also connected to the D ring. So it is all about the structure of vitamin B12. I think it is clear to everyone. Now coming to absorption and transport of the vitamin. What happens? Vitamin B12 present in our diet is bound to the proteins. So the dietary cobalamin, they are released from the proteins by the gastric acid and they bind to cobalophyllins, which are also known as R proteins, and to intrinsic factor. Because it is intrinsic factor, vitamin B12 is also known as extrinsic factor of Cassel. This is also known as intrinsic factor of Cassel, which is a glycoprotein secreted by the gastric parietal cells. Means vitamin B12 in diet is bound to proteins, then they are released from these proteins by the help of 2 factors. One is cobalophyllins, they are released by the gastric acid and they bind to 2 factors. One is known as cobalophyllins, also known as R proteins, and another is known as intrinsic factor, which is a glycoprotein secreted by the gastric parietal cells. What happens at pH 2, means in the stomach the relative affinity for cobalophyllins and intrinsic factor for cobalamin is 50:1, means at low pH or acidic pH, cobalophyllins have more affinity for cobalamin than for intrinsic factor. And what happens when the food reaches the lower part, that is in the duodenum? Pancreatic enzymes are also released and they secrete bicarbonate. There the pH changes from acidic to alkaline. At that alkaline pH, the cobalophyllines are partially degraded. So what will happen? The intrinsic factor will be more available for binding to the cobalamin, and hence the binding of cobalamin to intrinsic factor increases in alkaline pH. Okay. And finally what happens? The binding of this or absorption of vitamin B12 or cobalamin in our mucosal cells is aided or supported by binding with intrinsic factor. That is why in patients with pancreatic insufficiency, they may have vitamin B12 deficiency. So what happens? Deficiency of or any defect of pancreatic juice secretion, any disease of the pancreas may lead to deficient B12 absorption. So cause is this, because they secrete bicarbonates which changes the pH and which degrades the cobalophyllines, and cobalophyllines are not there, so more cobalamin bind to intrinsic factor, and that complex is absorbed, it helps in absorption of B12. One molecule of intrinsic factor binds to 1 or 2 molecules of vitamin B12. Okay, I have made a schematic diagram of this digestion absorption. Let's go into this. So what is this? This is vitamin B12 which is bound to the protein, comes from the diet. The cobalophyllines, they are secreted from the saliva. When they enters, this is the stomach part. When they reaches the stomach, the gastric parietal cells, it secrete H+, HCl and intrinsic factor. Parietal cells secrete both H+ and intrinsic factor. Low pH. Okay, so an intrinsic factor, the free B12, the gastric low pH or acidic pH, it releases the protein and B12 or it separates them, so there is free B12. This intrinsic factor will bind to the B12 to form B12 intrinsic factor complex. The cobalophyllines from the saliva, also from the gastric juice, they also bind to the free B12 to form B12 cobalaphylline complex. What happens in the duodenum? Pancreatic juice is released, bicarbonate, so the cobalophyllines are degraded. There will be either free B12 or B12 intrinsic factor complex. Okay, up to this we have discussed. Now what is this? We will first look the theory part, then we will see this diagram. What happens? The cobalamin intrinsic factor complex binds to specific receptors on the luminal surface of ileal mucosal cells. This is important, means absorption occurs in the ileum part. This complex then binds to the specific receptors. The binding and entry of B12 into the cell is mediated by calcium ions. Calcium ions are helpful for the binding. In the mucosal cells, B12 is converted to methylcobalamin. So up to this, what happens? And this B12 intrinsic factor complex, when they goes up to the ileum part, these are the mucosal cells. The intrinsic factor is separated and only B12 enters the in mucosal cells. So this absorption or entry is calcium dependent. So see, for vitamin B12 different factors are also, means other nutrients are also required, so this intake is dependent on calcium. Now coming to mucosal cells, what happens in mucosal cells? The B12, it is converted to methylcobalamin. Cobalamin is converted to methylcobalamin, one of the one of the coenzyme form of cobalamin. Okay, now what happens? This methylcobalamin, as we have discussed, this is the circulatory form of cobalamin. So this methylcobalamin, it is circulated. These TC1 are the transcobalamin 1 and transcobalamin 2. Transcobalamin, from the name we can assume it transports the cobalamin. Because it transports the cobalamin, that is why it is known as transcobalamin. Then the transported methylcobalamin, they bind to the protein called transcobalamin, which are two types, 1 and 2. Majority transport occurs by 1 and only 10% occurs by transcobalamin 2. Now excess methylcobalamin is taken up by the liver and stored. I have highlighted this because B complex vitamins are not stored. It is exception in the form of deoxyadenosyl cobalamin. Not stored in the form of methylcobalamin but deoxyadenosyl cobalamin. This can be a good MCQ question. It's if you can understand these points, it will clear up your topic very properly. So liver can store up to 4 to 5 milligrams of B12. Only small amount, up to means 4 to 5 milligrams of B12 will be stored, which will be sufficient for 4 to 6 years. You can see only 4 to 5 milligrams is sufficient for 4 to 6 years. So coming to the diagram again, this methylcobalamin, it is transported, 90% bounds to transcobalamin 1, 10% bounds to transcobalamin 2, enters various tissue. Then in the liver, excess with methylcobalamin, it is taken up by the liver and converted to deoxyadenosylcobalamin, which is the storage form. So this is all about this this is from diet it comes, then digestion, absorption, transport, storage, utilization. Okay. Now coming to the biochemical functions. Only two, nothing more to remember in this, because you have to remember that only 2 biochemical reactions in humans are dependent on vitamin B12. Okay. First one is synthesis of methionine from homocysteine. What happens? Methionine, an important amino acid, it is synthesized from homocysteine in our body. The enzyme is homocysteine methyl transferase or methionine synthase. 2 names are there for the vitamin. You can remember by this, because methionine is synthesized, it is known as methionine synthase, or also known as homocysteine methyl transferase, because methyl group is transferred to homocysteine to form methionine. Means only a methyl group is different between these two amino acids. Methyl group is present in methionine and it is absent in homocysteine. From M to M means methionine M, from M it contains methyl group. Okay, so the enzyme is known as methionine homocysteine, methionine synthase, or also known as homocysteine methyl transferase, because methyl group is transferred to homocysteine. Important is there, it requires methylcobalamin. Okay, and also required N5 methyl tetrahydrofolate. So it is converted to tetrahydrofolate. Detail of this one. What happens? Homocysteine to methionine, methyl group is transferred, enzyme is homocysteine methyl transferase or methionine synthase. What happens? Methylcobalamin, it transfers the methyl group to form cobalamin. Methylcobalamin to cobalamin will be formed. This again cobalamin will be again converted back to methylcobalamin by the help of N5 methyl tetrahydrofolate. It will be methyl group will be transferred and it will be liberated as tetrahydrofolate only. Okay, so this is the reaction, first reaction in which cobalamin is used, or vitamin B12 is used in the form of methylcobalamin. Now coming to the second reactions in which vitamin B12 is utilized is isomerization of methylmalonyl CoA to succinyl CoA. This methylmalonyl CoA is formed in our body from various sources, like from various branch chain amino acids like valine, isoleucine, threonine, also from methionine, from pyrimidines like thymine, uracil, from various odd chain fatty acids either directly or through intermediate, that is propionyl CoA. This methylmalonyl CoA is formed. Now this methylmalonyl CoA is converted to succinyl CoA by the enzyme methylmalonyl CoA mutase. Okay, so this succinyl CoA is formed. The succinyl CoA has various fates in our body. Now what happens? And it requires 5-deoxyadenosylcobalamin as it requires 5-deoxyadenosylcobalamin for the reaction to proceed. See, 2 different enzymes or 2 different reactions in our body are dependent on vitamin B12, and they require 2 different isoenzyme forms of the vitamin. 2 different forms. One require methylcobalamin, other require 5-deoxyadenosylcobalamin. So what happens in the deficiency of vitamin B12? This reaction will not proceed. So this excess methylmalonyl CoA will be accumulated in the body from these various sources. They will form methylmalonic acid, which will be excreted in the urine, and this condition is known as methylmalonic aciduria. The condition is known as methylmalonic aciduria. So these are the 2 reactions. One is formation of methionine from homocysteine, other is isomerization of methylmalonyl CoA to succinyl CoA. Coming to the RDA, means if you get a long question on the vitamin, you have to cover the topic under the different forms. All points should be mentioned. coming to the RDA, adult 3 microgram per day. Important to note here is microgram, means it is required in microgram quantities per day. The different vitamins have different requirements. Some are required also in milligram quantities. This is required in microgram quantity. That is why the storage form is milligram, means 4 to 5 milligram is sufficient for 4 to 5 years, you can remember. Okay, so it is required in 3 microgram per day. Children half 1.5 microgram per day. Pregnancy requirement increases 4 microgram per day. Coming to dietary source, only animals are the source of vitamin B12. The rich sources will be the liver, kidney, egg, fish, chicken. All the non-vegetarian food sources are the rich sources. Curd, it is a good source due to synthesis of vitamin B12 by lactobacillus bacteria present in it. Then vitamin B12 is synthesized only by the microorganisms. Plants cannot synthesize, hence B12 not found in the plant food. And animals, they obtain the vitamin B12 either the food from other animals or from the intestinal bacterial synthesis. This is important. Coming to the what are the different causes of B12 deficiency. First one is nutritional deficiency, very commonly seen in India, either because many people are vegetarian and also due to poor economic status. The non-vegetarian eating population are also not getting proper diet, proper non-vegetarian food items. That is why also they are having deficiency. So nutritional deficiency, very common cause and mostly seen in India. Second is decreased absorption. As we have seen, healthy stomach, pancreas, then ileum are necessary for the proper absorption of B12. That is why decreased absorption will be seen in gastrectomy, ileal resection, malabsorption syndrome, where there is complete malabsorption. Third is Addisonian pernicious anemia. Addisonian pernicious anemia. It is rare in India, commonly seen in European countries. It was first described by Thomas Addison in 1849. Pernicious term means fatal, because at that time it was not known the cause of the disease and the treatment. So at that time it was known as pernicious because there was no known therapy or treatment for the disease. Age group usually seen in people greater than 40 years of age. It is an autoimmune disease. Some auto antibodies are formed against the intrinsic factor. So intrinsic factor become deficient, leading to the defective B12 absorption. So it is called Addisonian because of the scientist Thomas Addison. Pernicious anemia, because the term pernicious, it means fatal. Now fourth cause of B12 deficiency is gastric atrophy. There will be gastric atrophy, there will be deficiency of intrinsic factor and decreased B12 absorption. What happens in iron deficiency anemia and chronic iron deficiency anemia? There is generalized mucosal atrophy because iron is required to maintain healthy mucosal surface. So there will be generalized mucosal atrophy, and in case of long-term mucosal atrophy, that is in chronic iron deficiency anemia, the gastric mucosa will also get atrophied. The gastric parietal cells will be damaged, leading to decrease in secretion of intrinsic factor or HCl. So in 40% cases of iron deficiency anemia, gastric atrophy is seen. Fifth important cause is pregnancy. Very common cause because there is increased requirement and less intake in a poor socioeconomic status, mostly in India. The vitamin B12 deficiency is very common. Now coming to the various deficiency manifestations, what will be seen, how the patient will present in absence of vitamin B12 or in deficiency of vitamin B12. First is folate trap, very important thing. What is folate trap? What happens? Vitamin B12 deficiency causes simultaneous folate deficiency due to the folate trap. Hence, features of folate deficiency are also seen. So, in case of B12 deficiency, the folic acid, though they are present in our diet in sufficient amount, even if they are present, there will be functional deficiency. This is another separate topic, folate trap. Short notes are usually asked, in Viva also asked. So the topic will be quite lengthy if I would have included it here. So I will make a separate video on folate trap. I have not covered this topic here. Now next is megaloblastic anemia will be seen in peripheral blood. Megaloblast and immature RBCs are seen. Increased homocysteine level, because the homocysteine is converted to methionine in our body, and in absence of B12 the homocysteine will not, or in absence of methylcobalamin, folic acid homocysteine is not converted to methionine and it will be increased. At increased homocysteine level, it leads to various cardiovascular diseases. The next important thing is demyelination or neurological features are seen in the absence of vitamin B12. What is the reason? We will discuss. So up to this we had already discussed homocysteine to methionine, homocysteine methyl transferase. The methyl group from methylcobalamin will be transferred to homocysteine to form methionine. Methylcobalamin will be converted to cobalamin. This cobalamin will be again converted back to methylcobalamin with the help of N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, which is converted to tetrahydrofolate. Now what happens? This methionine, it is converted to S-adenosyl methionine with the help of ATP, means adenosine group from the ATP, adenosine triphosphate, will be transferred to methionine to form S-adenosyl methionine. Then again methyl transferase, it will convert S-adenosyl homocysteine, a methyl group will be liberated. This methyl group is accepted by the methyl acceptors to form various methylated products which are used in our body. So what happens? This methylation of phosphatidylethanolamine, it will form phosphatidylcholine. But in absence of this reaction, what happens? The methylation of phosphatidylethanolamine to phosphatidylcholine does not take place. So there will be deficient myelin sheath formation. Means normally what happens when the cycle continues, this S-adenosyl methionine, it will transfer the methyl group from methyl acceptor to methylated product. So here the methyl acceptor is phosphatidylethanolamine to form methylated product, that is phosphatidylcholine. Okay. So this phosphatidylcholine is required for myelin sheath formation in nerves. In absence of this vitamin B12, this step will not occur. Methylation of phosphatidylethanolamine to phosphatidylcholine will not take place. There will be deficient myelin sheath of nerves, demyelination, and neurological lesions will be seen. Also known as SCD, subacute combined degeneration. SCD. What is SCD? Subacute combined degeneration. There is the demyelination, it affects the cerebral cortex, dorsal column, and pyramidal tracts of the spinal cord. Why it is called combined? Because both sensory and motor tracts are affected. It is called as combined degeneration. Okay. So let's revise again. Causes of B12 deficiency. Either there will be nutritional deficiency, decreased absorption, Addisonian pernicious anemia, gastric atrophy, pregnancy, 5 causes. Then again 5 deficiency manifestation. First is folate trap, megaloblastic anemia, increase in homocysteine level, demyelination, subacute combined degeneration, or SCD. Why it is called combined? Because there is both sensory and motor tracts are affected, both dorsal column and pyramidal tracts are affected. Now coming to the clinical features: symmetrical paresthesia of the extremities, altered deep tendon reflex, loss of position sense, Romberg sign positive, that is falling when eyes are closed, Babinski sign positive, extensor plantar reflex. These are the features will be seen in case of vitamin B12 deficiency. Assessment of B12 deficiency: estimate serum vitamin B12 level in the blood. Peripheral smear will megaloblastic anemia feature, that is the megaloblast will be seen, immature RBCs will be seen, homocysteine level will be increased in the blood, and homocysteinuria will be seen. Treatment: therapeutic dose of vitamin B12 is given, either 100 to 1000 microgram IM is given. Along with B12 deficiency, folate deficiency should also be treated. So folate and B12 are usually given in combination. Folate trap or methyl trap we will discuss. I will make a separate video on this. Now coming to 2 terms which we have came across, what are cobalophyllins or intrinsic factors. Let's have few points on both these important factors. These cobalophyllins, these are glycoproteins in nature. They occur in plasma, saliva, gastric juice. Okay, saliva and gastric juice also secrete this. Bind 1 cobalamin per molecule, and their isoelectric point range from 2.3 to 5 due to the presence of 6 to 18 sialic acid residue per molecule. I have just included this point, important mostly for the MD biochemistry students. And because of their, why they are known as R protein, because of their low isoelectric pH, these proteins have high anodic mobility during electrophoresis in the alkaline pH. Hence they are known as R protein, rapidly migrating. R means rapidly migrating. This can be asked mostly to the MD students, not required for MBBS students. Then intrinsic factor, it is also a glycoprotein with 15% carbohydrate. It requires B ring of the Corian ring system to bind, and secretion of intrinsic factor is increased by vagal stimulation, histamine, gastrin. In the small intestine, free intrinsic factor is partially degraded by pepsin, chymotrypsin, but is resistant to trypsin. But the intrinsic factor B12 complex is resistant to all the proteases. Means pepsin, chymotrypsin, they can degrade free intrinsic factor but not the complex of B12 intrinsic factor. Okay, that's all about vitamin B12. Thank you.